right, welcome back to the next edition of the Bonded by Horror Show. We're gonna have a fun time this week. This is episode 2. I think I just said that, but whatever. We're gonna get into that a few times. I'm well caffeinated. The other two ghouls are caffeinated, or whatever the hell they are. I'm one of the three hosts, Eddie Vegas.
I am Joe Walsh, also known as author J.C. Walsh.
What up, boys? It's Scroogey Boy here. How's it going, everybody?
We're good. We're good. How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday morning? Brisk and early and nice and ready to go and attack the day and talk about a fucking wild one this week, guys. This is going to be an interesting show and an interesting discussion, and I can't wait for this. So, if anybody isn't aware of what we're about to go talk about, we are going to be breaking down and dissecting horror genre classic, a staple, a pinnacle movie from everything that I've ever heard and read, and all my fellow horror community deadites would say is a beautiful piece of film mastery, right? And that's Army of Darkness. It's not any of those things, but it is a fucking wild ride, that's for sure. And I hope everybody loves this. Army of Darkness, another movie. How did we end up picking two movies from 1992? We didn't even realize. And
Holy shit.
vastly different movies. Like, they couldn't be any more different than what they are. But both in the horror genre. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing to kind of talk about too, to reference later on. The parallels between, like, hey, the horror genre is such an amazing, it's like metal. Like, there's so many subgenres of it, but it's all just one giant awesome community when you accept the fact that it's just one awesome giant community, right? Over the course of this show and over the course of the next couple of weeks, when everybody joins us and hopefully we build a nice community of our own, people will join in and be able to help dissect these ridiculous fucking movies that we're going to watch, like this one today. So everybody understands with this one. Last week, Pet Sematary 2 is more of like one of my personal favorites. So when me and JC decided to start doing this a while ago, and then we added in Scrooge there, that was the one to go with because it's so near and dear to my heart, and I love talking about it. And it brings together two worlds that I love a lot, like the metal version or music version, and horror, and my friendships. But this week, I left it up to these two fellas on what we should do for episode 2. Ben had thrown out Army of Darkness. Joe very happily threw his hat into that ring as well, and he happened to pick out what we're going to do next week. Which, stick around to the end because we're going to let out a little ghoul out of the box about what we're going to do next week, which is going to be an interesting one. So you're definitely going to want to stick around to the end. So please hang out with us. But here's the deal with Army of Darkness. I'm going to just throw this out there, guys. I don't know this movie. I didn't know this movie at all. I've heard like lines and I've seen clips and I've heard little pieces of it, but I didn't know this movie like you guys do. So I'm going to be the fresh take here for once, which is going to be wild. And even though I'm kind of giving you guys the open and I'm like the mouthpiece for the most part, most of the time, because I don't like awkward silences, I'm not going to be able to talk about this movie as much as I could the last one, or maybe what we're going to talk about in the future. Which is nice for me, actually. So it's really going to be Joe and Ben here really kind of riffing, and I'm going to be throwing in what I thought about the scenes and what we loved about the movie. So just like Pet Sematary 2, we're going to break down some of our favorite scenes, some of our favorite moments, which I feel like you're pretty much going to hear a beat by beat synopsis of this movie because it's a quick watch, man. 120 minutes long, not even that, like an hour.
No,
20 minutes long,
it's an hour and 20 minutes.
And when even it's 10 minutes shorter than the last movie we watched. It was a fast watch, man. Like just over an hour. That's nothing. Like, and you can sit and watch that movie a couple times.
With Army of Darkness, also, I feel like there's always something happening too. There's never like a lull point, except, I mean, like there's like the couple times where they have like the montage and they're training everybody for the Army of Darkness. But that's about it. It's such an easy horror watch, and can you even call it a horror movie at this point? Because it's so goofy, and I love every second of it.
That's one of the things I was going to bring up while watching it. So before we get into like our favorite scenes and the dichotomy of the movie, it's borderline horror. Like, it's horror comedy is really what it is. And
it's horror adjacent. It's comedy.
But it's a horror movie because there's some like I don't want to give anything away yet, but like one of my spoiler alert, one of my favorite scenes early on is when they're at the pit and they throw somebody in it, and like everybody's waiting, and then all of a sudden like a fucking blood volcano shoots up out of nowhere. Like right there.
Well, that's a
when
reference
you do,
to
like,
Nightmare on Elm Street. They did that in homage to it.
So, I didn't
It's
even
great
realize
homage.
that. So,
And then over
Yeah.
exaggeration.
So we'll get into
blood
that
just
too.
coming out.
So this was
out of the bed.
this was a weird movie. It's definitely not what Sam Raimi wanted to do. Like, not even in the slightest. He wanted to do Evil Dead 3, and then what is it? Universal? Yeah, Universal.
Yeah, Universal.
They bought the rights, not even to Evil Dead, but to Ash Williams and all of that. And they were like, no, this is the movie that we want. And Sam,
So weird.
he was pressed up against a barrel, and he's like, I guess I'll do this. So they gave him a huge fucking budget for comparatively to what fucking Evil Dead 2 was, and they just went with it. I think they just kind of threw every single thing at the wall. That's why you get like 5 fucking like Three Stooges references in like a span of 10 minutes. I just thought it worked. It definitely didn't screen very well because people hated it when it came out. Now it's definitely one of those cult classics. But
I'm not surprised. If you didn't know anything about this series of movies, first off, the series as a whole is weird anyways. Like the first one's so underground and so low budget. But it's a masterpiece because of that reason, right?
Mhm.
It's beautiful because of what Sam Raimi literally broke ground. Like it's almost like what the Matrix did for movies. And anything that followed the Matrix.
Yeah, it's like the Matrix for action movies. It's like Clerks for comedies.
Yeah.
It does all of that. It definitely fits in that mold. And then Evil Dead 2 is
down an Iron Gate, man.
Oh yeah, and then Evil Dead 2 is where Sam really got to make the movie that he wanted to make, right? Yeah. And Bruce definitely helped out a fucking shit ton with that, mainly because I just think he can't play anybody else except Ash, and there's no problems with that. Everybody, I don't know if
so apparently you didn't see Spider-Man when he was the fucking theater clerk.
And he's the ring announcer, and he's quite literally basically just being Ash Williams. Oh, and then there's also he's also in Burn Notice, where I can't remember who he plays, but again, basically just plays Ash Williams, like fucking note for note. That's all he does. But we love him for it.
He's a gem of a human being, that's for sure.
He's the nicest fucking dude ever too. He just loves all of his fans and shit. Anyway, let's talk about the movie, man.
So this movie. So here's a couple questions for you guys. So Ben obviously loves this movie, and now again, me and Ben are brothers. If people didn't know that. So what's funny is I passed on to Ben my love for horror, right? But then he took it his own direction, and he knows a ton of movies that I never really got into or never really seen, and vice versa, right? So excuse me. And we talk about that all the time. Like we'll share stuff. I didn't realize how much Ben loved this movie until recently, to be honest with you. We never really, I don't know, we just don't talk about certain movies. You forget to bring them up and be like, oh, I think maybe, I don't know, I could be talking out of context, but you probably assumed I knew the movie. I don't know, I would imagine, because
I knew
it. Classic, right?
I knew you at least knew Evil Dead 2. That's because we've talked about Evil Dead 2 a ton. So it was just like
the 2 Evil Dead movies I know pretty well.
Yeah.
And then the remake I know.
Fucking love the remake.
Excuse me.
But no. All right, well, nope, we can hear you.
Okay,
I was about to say I'll take the wheel.
If I get quiet,
He didn't break himself.
It's pausing on my side. No, you're good.
No, and then with Army of Darkness, they barely even reference Evil Dead, except at the very beginning, and they never even advertised it as an Evil Dead sequel. They were when Universal was advertising this movie, it's like, hey, if you, I don't know, if like you know who this guy is, you've seen him before, you might like this movie. I don't know. So it's really good for it.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to bring up to kick it off, right? So let's kick off what we love about the movie, the scenes and things like that. So for me, being an outsider for this movie, I did like the fact that they opened up with a little bit of a montage to kind of introduce the character and where he came from. So if you took somebody that, I think a well-done sequel, no matter what style of sequel it is, like this one's such a fucking weird offshoot. If you can give us just enough, so if like, say you bring a date to the movies that doesn't know Evil Dead, you can put them in the movie, the third one, and they'll get just enough to be able to understand kind of what's going on and then enjoy the ride with everybody else. So it's like you don't have to be a super fan of that movie. So I think that's where like the Marvel movies are kind of like hit or miss with some people. So the Marvel movies, each individual one, like the Avengers and stuff, are big, beautiful box office slam popcorn in your mouth movies, and that's great. But if you're a super fan, you get every little piece and every little callback and every little nuance. But you have to follow 10 years worth of movies to get everything that happened at the very end. So there's two different fans, right? So there are people that go to that and go, I just can't get into it because I don't have the time and patience to invest in all of the other movies, or maybe I didn't like the other movies. And then you have people that love all of them. Same thing with this, even to an extent, or even Friday the 13th. The first four followed a story, and then after that, it kind of loosely kept on going, but it changed the lore so many
Yeah.
times. They're really kind of just individual movies. Or Nightmare on Elm Street, same thing.
Mm.
I mean, again, they kind of follow a lore, but they change every time. Like there's always something a little bit different that Freddy can do or whatever. So, but you can watch. What's great about those movies is you don't have to watch the first Nightmare on Elm Street to like the fourth one. Like you can just watch them. You know what I mean? And that's what's amazing about it. And that's what I think this one does such a good job of. It's such a ridiculous movie, and it's such a ridiculous premise that like they give you just enough at the beginning to be like, oh, this is where Ash came from. This is how he ended up in this, ancient whatever fucking Roman time, whatever the hell it is, whatever it's supposed to be set back to. And then from there, boom, here's the movie. You know what I mean? It's I thought it set up enough to be able to like draw in a casual movie fan, but be able to keep you there with like a exploding blood death pit. Like it's so ridiculous. But I'll kick the ball back over to like Ben or Joe and see what you guys think about like any specific early on scenes. What do you guys think about that? Being fans of the other two, do you like the fact that it gives you a little bit of a montage from the beginning to kind of fill you in on what's going on, or would you rather have just the movie like kicked right in and gone on? Like,
Well, if you really
guys are
think,
bigger fan of the movie than
if
me.
you think about it, they actually did both. So they fill you in on exactly what Evil Dead 1 and 2 is realistically, if you think about it like that. It teaches you enough about the Necronomicon to get it. It's a Book of the Dead. It does bad, scary things. That's all you gotta know. What else is there to say? And then it fucking immediately picks up where the second one ended. The second fucking Evil Dead 2 starts, Army of Darkness begins. There's no time delay. You don't have to think about it like that, but they did such a good job of explaining everything to you in such a quick manner. What was it, like 2 minutes? Not even that Ash is talking about everything. That bam, the fucking Army of Darkness begins. So I think they did a awesome job with that.
Yeah, it's funny, we talked with Pet Sematary 2 last week with how it was a sequel, but you don't mention any of the characters, and the continuing the first movie more through lore and mentioning the characters. With this one, it plays off the narrative of like continuing from the first two movies. And now I'm a huge fan of Evil Dead 2 and the remake. I really enjoyed Army of Darkness. I think it's a lot of fun. Of course, I'm not a elitist horror fan, but yeah, I just love Evil Dead 2 because it touches more on the horror and comedy more, where Army of Darkness is more comedy than horror, but still has a lot of great horror elements. So I love the intro. I love when he gives that like introductions to that S-Mart. He's telling the story type of thing. And then you see things that happen in the cabin. Then he gets into that little time portal, and he drops right into medieval times. And they don't waste time. They don't drag it out, which is good because of the movie length. And then and I love the knights attacking the car. I thought that was hilarious. Those little things like that, where they're just like they're looking at the stranger dressed strange. Who the hell is he? And then what is this thing that fell out of the sky with him? This mechanical beast, and they're just like stabbing the shit out of it. And
I thought that was funny too.
I chuckled. I thought it was great. There's just a little stuff
that was one of those first. There's a lot of for such a fast-paced movie. There's a lot of eye for details, like even little details. So if you're like a movie fan, like a true movie lover, your eyes kind of do pick up on little things like that. Like some people would gloss over the fact that you have a bunch of like knights from the medieval times not understanding what a car is, or like a metal horse, or whatever they would think it would be, and then they're like going over there and like slashing it and hacking it and stabbing it. Was it like that? Made me again. It made me smirk. It made me smile, and it kind of it solidifies like real early on, like, oh, you're just in for like an interesting ride. Like, this isn't going to take itself too serious, and and that's what's really cool. I like that. And now on top of that, to add there, I love, as much as they don't hold up, I love the early 90s like blue screen effects. They're not even
Mhm.
green screen, I don't think, back then. You could see the difference. They look like when Ash is like falling through the sky. It's so cheesy, but it's beautiful at the same time. It's so well done. And
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily hold up like some like practical effects would,
Mm-mm.
which this movie is a fucking like masterpiece when it comes to that. Like the practical effects that Sam Raimi can pull off, which we're definitely going to get into in a little while.
Mhm.
There's
Hard to
one.
say. They're second to none.
There's one in particular. It's more so towards the end. It's right when Evil Ash is marching up towards the keep. You can literally. I meant to record it last night and I was gonna play it on here, but I forgot. There's literally a fucking part where they're trying to walk up and then you can see the fields up to the keep. The fucking fields were glitching out and they were basically clipping back and forth through the fucking the blue screen and then the keep, and I had to rewind it a few times. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I never noticed that clip 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 clip. And dude, it that blue screen effect it was just that one in particular. And then every time I feel like for the time that it was made in, I feel like they did a really good job with Bruce. Every time Bruce Campbell, how many fucking characters does he play realistically? And they're all the same person, but you could tell they put a lot of effort into that with every time there was a different Bruce on the screen, and I think they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, he's a fucking superstar. Go ahead, Joe. No,
we'll go back real quick. We'll talk about the we guys talk about the special effects and how well they did that. I know we're gonna jump into that, but like with the intro, what I really enjoyed, I noted was like so you get the whole set, the castle, you get the whole set, this whole medieval setting. And I thought they did very well. It wasn't too, because it's a little bit of that satire comedy, and you also got to like kind of over exaggerate the knights and then the people in this castle. But even though they all exaggerate their personalities a little bit, it's not too crazy, and they stick with like that authentic. It's very authentic feeling for a comedy horror in this medieval time. It feels like it's medieval. It's not overly. It's not overdone where it's like, okay, this is not realistic. And then that goes right to the pit. The pit was we talk about the pit. That was very well done. So it's got a lot of the darkness of medieval times with I wrote it down. I had the setting of warfare and superstition. I'm happy they jumped right into a Deadite type scene with the pit, because instead of just dragging it out, you got the intro and you got right to the nitty gritty of this. Like, these people are dealing with the same thing he just dealt with in the cabin, so it connects right away.
Right. That's a good point. When he falls into the pit and then like the Deadite shows up, the chick or whatever, and he starts fighting her. That kind of it keeps the lore going right away. It keeps the machine going. It keeps the steamroller heading forward, right? So you can kind of tie in the two. So again, it does well to play to the Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 fans, and then keep them interested in the fact that now you're watching a fucking medieval movie. It's such a weird movie.
It was a fucking, and that shit turns into a medieval kung fu movie because the amount of flips, dude, the amount of flips that one Deadite does is insane, and I love it.
And that's when they started introducing the fight scenes with the Deadites. Like,
yes, yeah.
To rewind too, we already skipped over one of the best. So this movie, if not for anything else, if you take away all the other stuff we're gonna rave about with this movie, it's one of the best one-liner movies I've ever seen.
I knew we were gonna get to that at some point.
we're gonna have to jump around with it. This one's gonna be a little bit different than last week, but we already jumped over one of the best one-liners in this movie, and it sets it right up. When he meets Red, he goes, "Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants." I fucking died, because I've heard that before, but I never realized what it was from. And when I saw it and the way he like schlocks it up, like the way he just like hams up that scene, dude, I fucking lost it. I immediately was like hooked right in. So, I mean, on top of other reasons why I was hooked in, but go ahead, guys.
One of my favorites when he's like being accused of being with these other knights with the red or whatever, the Red Army, and he goes, "I never seen this asshole before." He just like, and it's just funny how like offbeat that comes out. He's just a modern guy talking to these medieval people, and he's calling him an asshole,
and they have no idea. No, they have no clue what they're saying, what he's saying. Yeah,
he doesn't know what he said. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things like that. Like when he's like, "Oh, give me some sugar, baby," or whatever the fuck he says to her when he's
Oh,
about to kiss
yeah.
her. Like,
Come on, hail to the king, baby. That's
Let
where
me-
it came
Yeah.
from.
Real quick, let me
or
throw.
when
Let me
the
throw. Oh, go ahead.
go
Sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was
You're
gonna say
good.
to throw in there because I know we're going back and forth. I have to say this. What I love about Bruce Campbell's character, he goes from. Oh no, where I put it? Where I read it because I don't want to lose the words.
Mine are all over the place too. Don't feel bad. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be this one's gonna be just jumping around.
Also,
talking about
fucking
how much
Yeah,
we love
yeah.
the movie.
Evil Ash even has one-liners. Like, it's
right,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, what a fucking champion.
I write that.
Don't talk too much about. I want to.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Oh,
Yeah.
I could rant and rave about
Yeah.
Evil Ash all fucking day.
What were you gonna say, Joe?
With the first version of Ash, you get the reserved college kid,
Mhm.
goes through all this, the typical horror trope. He goes through all this hell, and then we go back to, he starts getting that craziness. You start seeing where he starts to lose his mind a little bit. And in Evil Dead 2 is where he's like the madman fighting the demons. He's the lunatic in the isolated cabin. And then
Yep.
he's got a couple of little one-liners, and he gets wacky. And it's almost like you see the transition when it gets to the third movie. The one-liners are what gives him that that cocky, toxic male anti-hero, like, and you see that because like he wants to be a good person, but he's just so crazy. He becomes like this like toxic human being where he's like selfish some points in the movie, and he's on movies to try and save people because he just wants to get back home, but he also like, I can't be this shithead. But of course, he starts becoming more of a shithead later on in the franchise, a lovable shithead. But
and it's funny too.
I think it's great. I love the transition. It's awesome.
They not only that too, but they start transitioning into that he's just a bumbling idiot. He's like, he goes, yeah, like I didn't say every little syllable, but yeah, I got it. It's like it starts to play with the fact that he's an idiot too.
Scene, we're gonna get into in a second too, because my notes on again. This movie's so fast.
Try to keep it linear as best we can.
Everything's super. This thing fucking hits you one shot after another. As soon as this movie, as soon as it gives you 1 second to breathe, it fucking comes back in with another right hook. It just keeps on happening. And there are like little breathe moments, but they're not. I mean, not very many. But yeah,
just enough for the character, like just a little bit of character development, just a little bit.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah,
so
they
it's not
didn't need to-
completely breakneck.
What they didn't need to do is that you don't have to go into too much of like his past and his history. Like, he's just this fucking like I would imagine he must be from New York. He seems like a Long Island or Staten Island guy rather. Like he's like kind of like a cocky like Guido, like kind of like a dickhead, like Joe was saying. And it really kind of shows, but at the same time, that's also his appeal because he's such a dumbass, but yet all of a sudden he can like build a fucking robot hand out of like medieval parts.
Yeah, he can build a robot hand. He knows exactly how to make gunpowder. He knows kung fu because he's teaching all the guys karate in the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they do know how to pull together. Because all right, so it was the Deadites. He starts becoming an asshole and being like, "Listen, guys, I just want to get the fuck out of here." And then all they want is the book. So they
don't forget when they're talking at one point. I think they're talking in when they're trying to talk him into going and getting a Necronomicon. All of a sudden, the witch shows up and he calls her a she bitch.
the she bitch, yeah.
I fucking lost it. And he's like,
oh, sorry.
All those scenes are great, man. All those scenes are fucking so good, and they're just so quick. It's all so quick witted, and it's all well done and well choreographed too. Like the fight scenes, even though like they're quick cuts, the way Sam Raimi had to like slice this movie together, it all really really works too. Like when he's in the pit, to call back really quick, and the guy goes strange one, and throws him the chainsaw, and he like jumps up and it kicks into his arm. Like,
I fucking love that.
It's so insane, man. It's so insane. Or like when he takes his belt off in that same scene and he
whips out the chain.
Indiana Jones's the chain to ride it up, and like the Deadite, yeah, like the Deadite is like on his foot and he's trying to kick it off. It was so crazy. What was I gonna just jump into? The making the robot arm and that's when he finally says groovy. Like, so obviously there's your pinnacle moment there. I want to kind of fast forward a little bit to. We got to just get into it now because I feel like this scene deserves a bulk of our conversation today. The entire fucking scene when he's running from the like the evil or whatever in the woods, and he ends up.
Oh,
at
the
that,
view
like,
through the demon, the Deadite. Yeah.
Yeah,
the dude, when the little ashes start running around, like, you
Yeah.
know you're in for a fucking
it's
ride.
it's the little
That's
That's one
ashes.
of my favorite.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
So there's so
insane.
much to unpack with that scene, because you have to understand. So you
That's why I wanted to jump right into
yeah.
it, 'cause
So
we have to get into that.
well, yeah, because like between the keep and then going into there's not much else. But that's a good call, because you get the classic Evil Dead, like the camera cut where the dead, it's not even a Deadite, it's just evil. That's how they explain it
The evil following.
yeah,
Correct.
that's how they finally explain it in Ash vs. the Evil Dead. It's just evil.
And it's chasing them, and like the
Yes.
fucking it's
Yeah.
the great tracking shots where
Yep.
the camera goes through, like, it splits trees, and like you see the fucking trees split because the evil's going right through the trees, and it up and above things and through fucking vines, and however he does those shots, he must put them on like a wire or something and literally pull them through. It's insane. Again, call back to the amount of detail that Sam Raimi has. It's wild what this guy can do with these shots, and that shot is fucking amazing. And I might be even overlooked with some people that don't understand what those are and why they're so amazing from the original one. But once he gets to that fucking the mill or whatever it is, the windmill, and then he shuts the door and he's trying to fight the evil back, like, right there, like, oh shit, this is where the movie, I feel like, kind of hits its like pinnacle into like the second act, right? This is where, like, all right, we're setting you up with some punches, some jabs. Now we're gonna fucking haymaker it, because this is where the meat comes in.
Yep.
And as soon as I kind of don't remember. I don't remember if he sees something weird in a reflection or something. What happens to set that up?
He's just
sees
go
himself.
ahead. Yeah, he sees himself.
Okay.
He gets fucking nervous. The mirror falls.
The way he's set up.
Yeah. Yep. And then it's evil. Yep. So the evil definitely got a hold of him at some point still. That's how they kind of try to play it off. And then the fucking mirror breaks, and then magically, for essentially no reason, there's nothing, little ashes start coming up.
Well, I think that silhouette that he ran into of himself, I think that was evil Ash. I think that, like you said, that was the evil. So we broke that version of him, and then they all came out to try and to, like, that's when the evil manifests. Because you see when you're like, what the hell's going on here? When they're all attacking him, it's
why are there little mini guys running around?
What was that?
It's
Gallagher
so
Time
fucking
Travel?
weird.
What was that movie there? Like with the little.
No, it's Gulliver's Travel.
Gulliver's Travels.
That's what made me think of it. Like that.
Gulliver's
insanity.
Travel or Gulliver's. Yeah, that's what makes me.
But 10 times over exaggerated and nuttier.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And like
Right.
they
It's
grab
so
the little
wild.
fork.
And each one is doing its own little thing, and each one has its own little personality.
It's so cartoonish and fantastic. It's
London Bridge is
such a good
falling down, and like he randomly just starts singing that for no reason. Just starts trying to stomp on him.
Like
When
goes
he-
right
when
with
he
his
throws the
insanity.
fucking-
He starts going nuts.
When he throws the mini trident spear and sticks the little
Yep.
ash into the wall, like, that's fucking amazing. Or like when he trips and his face gets stuck to the stove and he's got to peel it off with the fucking shovel.
That shit was such a Looney Tunes thing, and I love it. And like they did all like the little sound effects. Yeah, they did all the sound effects, and it's like you can, if you see it, there's like nothing on the surface where he is. It clearly doesn't look hot. There's nothing on it. It's just such a goofy.
Oh, that's all him. Yeah, that's all him just fucking hamming it up.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
wild.
but
it's so good.
There's no way they must have just been like, dude, just do whatever you want. Just do this, and then it's fine, because he hams it up so hard and he nails it here. But yeah, I love
when he wakes up all tied down like Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah,
like what Joe was talking about.
And that's
then
where we
fucking
find out what
they hold his mouth open.
Yeah, and the little mini swan dive. It's so good. Drinking the fucking boiling hot water.
Oh,
you want some hot chocolate?
And so that's what's great about that whole entire scene. It really, even though the studios wanted him to do this whole wacky medieval thing, he was still able to incorporate what we love from the first two Evil Dead movies.
Yeah.
The evil presence chasing him through the woods. Those woods. I have a theory. I think those woods are the woods from the first two movies. You just see it in a different timeline.
Oh, it's the same area.
Actually, that's a great theory.
The cabin. I think that's the cabin.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So, and then he's being chased, and then he's in like I said, with the door. It's all harking back to like the old school. And then instead of seeing the same shit, you get to see this crazy, wacky little ashes, and then you see the true like plan of what they really want to do once they jump inside of him. Which
dude. As soon as the fucking eyeball pops out of his shoulder blade or whatever,
Yeah,
Wild.
Mhm.
That fucking eyeball scene, that gimmick, the prop that they use for that
and that's great.
is
80s,
amazing.
90s special effects combined. That's
Dude,
like
it
that's so
looks
old
so
school 80s
good.
with the 90s cartoonish of horror. You know.
Oh, it's amazing. And then like all of a sudden it starts growing out of him. So K-Dog, real quick, funny about this. The Indiana Jones thing, I didn't really think too much about until how there's like some of that. K-Dog had never seen the movie before. She doesn't even know the first two really, but so she like was making dinner or whatever she was doing, and she comes to sit down next to me and like comes in right around that scene, and she's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then
Hey,
like
man.
as as the movie starts going and progressing, like she watched it and she kind of pointed that out when the action stuff starts really happening. She's like, "Oh, this is really just like kind of like Indiana Jones," and I didn't even think about that until she said it. And I wanted to make sure that you guys, I brought that up to you guys. It is. It's very much so that like that action adventure
hmm
swashbuckler fucking.
That
That's a
old,
big thing that
like
was
the
in
old
the early
serials.
'80s too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did a
yeah.
really good job.
It just
I also
I
gotta
wanted to
feel
put that
like
comparison up.
Ten Commandments, Excalibur, and Jason the
Yeah,
Argonauts feel to all those
You
too.
beat
yes,
The
me
way they
to
film.
it.
yeah.
Damn it.
Especially Jason
Oh,
the Argonauts because
I
of
already
the
know you got a lot of
skeletons.
theories. I
I
gotta get you. 'Cause
God damn it.
Yeah.
That
I'm
was like
putting
the
a few words in today.
that
but
was the one goddamn thing I had in my pocket was Jason and the fucking Argonauts, you jerk. God damn it,
It's
because that was a big
it's a
thing. Well, it's not just that. Sam Raimi actually that he made a point to make the skeletons look, and they did the
Yep.
same effect with Jason and the Argonauts. That's
Yep.
that's
yeah.
where it comes from.
They look the same.
Well, the skeletons
Oh yeah,
look
you
so
can
much
tell.
better. They're all angry and like.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Which
that's
the
skipping
next
forward.
scene. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but I wanted to finish up. I wanted to talk a little bit more about this whole like Evil Ash coming out scene, and then all of a sudden he's got like a whole second half of him, and then it splits, and then they're going back and forth, and the banter between the two of them is
Mhm.
amazing. Like when
The
they're
banter's
talking, kind
amazing.
of talking shit to each other, the back and forth is great.
I'm the
And
bad
then
Ash, you're
what
the
the
good
hell?
Ash. And then
I was just gonna say,
Bruce says my favorite. He says my favorite. This is the best one liner in the whole movie, I think.
I'm the guy with the gun.
Yep, good, bad, doesn't matter. I'm the guy with the gun. Bam! Fucking shoots him right in the face.
Then what does he say to him when he's burying Evil Ash? He's like, "What's that on your face?"
He's like,
your
"Hey, what's
face,
that
yeah.
in your face?" And he,
I wrote that down. Such a good line.
It's so good, dude. That's amazing.
Don't forget, and then we don't have to go back to the beginning, but one more quick one-liner for us. The classic, "This is my
Please.
boomstick." That's
that's
Yes.
the
can
classic
you
one.
throw it out there
Yes.
real quick while we're talking
Yep.
about the gun? Epic.
That's the classic. If you had to pick like three, it's "This is my boomstick,"
That
"Hail
was
to
a
the
classic
King,"
line.
and "Groovy." Those are like the big ones.
Mhm.
And then "She Bitch," obviously.
Yeah.
Well,
She,
if there's something in your face, it should be in the top 5.
I
At
mean,
least.
hey, what's that in your face?
What's on your face?
I'm gonna keep my flag in the ground for "Hey there, Mr. Fancy Pants," but only because I love that fucking line. But that's just because it's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. Well, hey there, Mr.
Well, hey
Fancy.
there, Mr.
It's-
Fancy Pants.
What it is too about this movie, and real quick too, to keep on like, let's keep on pouring fucking gas on the fire of how much we love Ash and Bruce Campbell. He's a handsome son of a bitch in this movie. First off, let's just give him
Oh, he's
credit.
super fucking
Super
hot.
props. Nice jawline. Good solid.
Oh, yeah.
jawline. Could have been a leading man in any other movie. But on top of that, he's. I wonder. I mean, I don't know unless one of you guys knows, because again, you guys are bigger fans of this movie. I kind of brand new, fresh take from me. How much of what he says is actually written and scripted? How much of it is him just ad-libbing? Because I would love to know what is what. Because if I mean,
I'll be Scrooge. Tell you that one.
you can't play that character without a little bit of it being who you really are, or being able to pull that out. But I mean, I would imagine some of those lines have had to have been ad-libbed somewhere. There's no way that they were 100%.
Because he helps write them. It was him and Sam. It was him, Sam, Ted. I think helped write.
Yep.
Yeah, which by the way, Ted Raimi is in this movie a ton. Like very seldom. Like he's always in the background.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, Bruce writes his own lines pretty much for the thing. So it's not only that, it's ad-libbed. He did the same thing in Ash vs. the Evil Dead also. He writes pretty much all of his own stuff. So if he doesn't think it, it's not in the movie. Sam lets him do his own thing, obviously, because I think there's random shit that he actually came up with a couple one-liners off the top of his head. I know James Rolfe mentioned that a few times. Like whenever he talks about these movies, is Bruce just kind of says whatever he wants, kind of like Ad McKay. Whenever they do like the improv stuff, it's like, hey, just say,
keep on filling
yeah,
takes.
just keep
film takes and then
just keep going
figure out
up and
whatever.
down. Just say whatever the fuck is on your mind. I know.
Like if you watch like behind the scenes stuff or like gag reels from like Anchorman or any of those movies, like he was just saying Adam McKay directed movies.
Mm-hmm.
Adam McKay will literally go, all right, here's the scene. Will Ferrell, go ahead, give us a line. All right, that was good. Go again.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's exactly how it works.
Literally let them just ad lib that shit back
Mhm.
and forth, and then whatever the most wild take is, normally is what sticks. And it's literally just one upping himself with how much more can I make this ridiculous, or how much more of a ridiculous line can I say, rather.
Yep. Like the big thing that the one scene, and this is actually going to go up until another point that goes immediately after the scene we were just talking about. The whole kleptu verada nicto, like all of that. When he forgets that, that wasn't just in the movie. He forgot what that last word was. That was
that's great.
That was an actual thing. He forgot. He forgot what it was.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Ben, because this comes to one of my favorite moments of the entire movie, and it's funny in so many different ways because it's such like an undertone thing. So it's funny that he's forgetting a word, right? And then he's like trying to remember, and like, hey, we've all been there. And I love how it's kind of almost a callback when the wizard guy is like telling him the 3 words, and he's like, say it again so you remember. Say it again. He's like, I got it. Like a cocky asshole would think. Like, you know, we've all been there. Like, I fucking got it. Leave me alone. Let me just go fight the thing so I can go home, right? But then when he's like, he's trying to remember the 3 words, and he goes, yeah, it's an N word. Definitely an N-word. I was I was dying because I was watching it with subtitles on, just because I don't know, sometimes I'll watch stuff with that just so I can make sure I'm, especially movies like that where when they say like Wilson's out, and I want to make sure I'm hearing it right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll also read along to it, and reading that, like, whatever you want to say, dude, made me die laughing because I'm like, I don't know. It's funny no matter what.
Definitely an N-word.
Right, like, it's funny because that's kind of what he's getting at, but he's like, there's so many underlying jokes there, and that's why it's amazing. Like, it's funny because he can't remember it, and then it's funny because he keeps on going, it's definitely an N-word, it's definitely an N-word. And I
thought it was funny. I thought that was funny too. And now, like, and you gotta think, knowing that he actually forgot Nikto, like he forgot the word.
Yeah.
So you gotta think now, like, was that actually just him, like, just being like, oh my fucking god, was it Nico? It's definitely an N-word, and like he looks right at the camera essentially, and like he's like, it's definitely one of those.
Definitely wasn't remembering it. And then I love when he to cover it up, he like says the first 2, and then he's like, yeah, I pretty much said it. Like, dude, that's amazing.
Then, you know, shit's gonna hit the fan because of that.
Yeah, it's so good. Then when he finally gets to, and honestly, in trying to figure out which book was the right book, we kind of skipped over that, but that scene was fucking awesome too. That whole thing was great.
Mm-hmm.
When like his face gets sucked into the book and it's all long and it's all oh man.
Can we just say
turn into an Alice Cooper chin at one point?
Yes.
Can we just say so like that whole scene was maybe 3 or 4 minutes, probably like 4 or 5 minutes tops. The amount of special effects that Bruce had to sit through just to get that 4 or 5 fucking minutes, because he had like 4 or 5 different faces when like he keeps shaking his face, and like the chin's a new way and his eyes are all fucking different, and then like the shit with the flying book and it has the teeth and it's going through all that, like, so you got to think of all the camera work that had to go into that for 3 or 4 minutes maybe of him dealing with this Necronomicon, which one's the real one. Holy shit. That must have taken at least 2 or 3 weeks time. You could not convince me any other way, because Bruce had to sit in a fucking makeup chair probably for 4 or 5 hours each day just for this one shot of 20 seconds of him shaking his face quick.
Practical
it's very well
effects are crazy like that. The amount of work that goes into it, and it's just like, and like you said, just how short that scene was, and then it could have been hours and hours of just.
That's dedication.
It wasn't CGI. It was before CGI. Because nowadays that would have been all done with CGI, and it would have taken fucking. I mean, in post, it still takes them a long time, but it's easier to do that with rendering and shit now. That's all like actual prosthetics and actual makeup and practical effects, and that's the stuff in this movie that holds up so well. Like, that's the shit that will stand the test of time, because practicality in front of a camera will still always look good. It doesn't matter if it's a little schlocky, if it's a little weird. It's always going to look better. It's the same idea as like action movies, right? The biggest problem with action movies nowadays is they use CGI fire. I'm sorry, or blood, CGI blood in horror movies. It's awful. Stop it. Just make a fucking blood pack. Get some goddamn corn syrup. Throw some red dye in there.
Nope,
throw it
too
against
hard.
the wall. It looks better all day long than fake fucking CGI blood dripping down a wall.
I enjoy the CGI blood in Midnight Meat Train because it just made it look comic booky. But I get you.
Oh yeah,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're
different,
saying. I know what you're saying.
you
Though.
know what I'm
Sometimes
saying.
it's terrible.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look at not to bag on it, but a great example is one of the reasons why the Nightmare on Elm Street remake was so it doesn't hold up in my opinion, or just fails miserably. Is the CGI blood in that movie? There's so much of it. It looks terrible.
And
it's
that's
not good.
I would love for us to visit that, but that's unfortunate because they could have used the CGI properly to expand the Nightmare world, and they didn't. They didn't do anything with that.
All right, really
I
quick.
watched the movie 6 times, so
I'm sitting here like this for the however long I've had it. I forgot the Necronomicon is right here on me.
Oh, look at that!
I literally forgot that the fucking Evil Dead book is on my arm this whole time.
Look at that.
So I wasn't even sitting here like that's the thing.
Odd flex, Ben.
There we go. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
He's book
Sorry,
flexing.
guys.
Oh, yeah, there.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
booked.
right there.
Flex of the dead.
We just got 5 more subs. Nice.
Yep. Yeah, because I gave the guys what they want.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
So and it wasn't just that too. So you got to think there was the faces. There was when they first initially open up the book when the fucking arms get all stretchy too. Which, by the way, why did the metal hand get stretchy too?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Whatever.
Great.
It's fine. And then
It's an eye to detail though, man. It's that's the whole thing. It's evil, right? It's supposed to be able to bend reality and kind of do things to your brain that you don't think was it his arm really being stretched, or was it in his brain and the evil getting to him and making him feel like he was going crazy?
Man, he's high.
Joe can touch on that. Yeah, he could have just been stoned. I mean, he could have just drank mushroom tea. They were big into that back in the medieval days, so not gonna know anything about that. But excuse me. I apologize. So this is where it kind of turns into he's running away with the book and he falls on the ground, and this is where we start seeing the Argonauts skeletons coming out of the ground. And holy shit, man, this is really that whole from the Necronomicon scene on with the practical effects. Goddamn, man, like absolutely stellar. The effects that went into this movie with the arms coming out of the ground and then the skeletons grabbing them and everything else. It's very, very well done. And you guys can talk about this scene a little bit more if you want to, but I wanted to kind of kick that in there.
I want to say quick before Joe probably beats me to it this time. I don't know why, for some strange reason, watching that scene where the skeleton arms first come out, it made me think of Pet Sematary 2, the beginning, when they're filming the stuff and the guy's like, I can't see for shit down here. That's exactly. I was like, oh, we know how it works.
Right, but we brought that up last week where when I first watched Pet Sematary 2 as a kid, I was like 8 or 9 when that movie came out. Watching that and seeing how that was done, that's literally kind of what my brain is saying. Like as a youth, you don't know how shit like that's done, and then when you see it, you're like, oh wow, that's kind of wild. So think about how many motherfuckers had to stand underneath a plank board with dirt flying in their face with fake fucking skeleton hands to make these scenes happen. It's insane, dude. It's so much work, man. It's so much work.
Yep,
It's painful work. I mean, it's not easy. It's long days, long setups. Things go wrong. Servos, fail. But
all for fucking 30 seconds of all Three Stooges references. That's all the scene was.
I didn't catch any of that. That's a good move. Good move on you, man. I think I got sucked right into how ridiculous I was catching a lot of themes all the way up to the battle scene until they start coming out of the grave, and then I just got sucked into the ridiculousness and insanity. Now I was before, but now it's just like, all right, now we're in for it. Now we're in for the battle, and then and the skeleton hands come up and he's fighting them, and they slap him in the face, and
like when he's doing all this, that's all. Every single bit. The second the skeleton hands start, that's all a big Three Stooges bit. They everything that they did was all in some skits at some point. The best one being when he does this, and then the two skeleton arms go like that.
Yep.
I don't think I've laughed so fucking hard watching a movie, and like the famous one where he sticks his tongue out and like they grab his fucking tongue and they start pulling it out.
Yeah, he's getting stretched, burned, kicked. I mean, this
This poor guy, and you got to think, he was doing all of this shit in Evil Dead 2 also, so it all takes place immediately after. It is not this guy's past 24 hours.
Yeah.
No. It's not his finest moment.
No. And then also you get the introduction of the real evil Ash, and the makeup work with that is insane to me. He looks so good.
Guar feel to it.
God damn it, Joe! God damn it! That's what I was just gonna say. I've been dying to talk about that. You son of a
Sherman brothers, get them. I'm getting you.
You stole both of us. God damn it, you stole both of our lines. Yeah, I've been dying to fucking say that. 100%. This is goddamn Guar all day long. And what's crazy is Guar was around back in '92, but I mean, they weren't anything.
88,
they weren't huge yet. 88, I think, something like that. 80, 87, 88. They've been around longer than people realize, but they didn't like. Scumdogs was 90, so Scumdogs of the Universe was 1990.
That's crazy.
And I think, what was it? What came next? Not This Toilet Earth was. That was 93.
No, it was This Toilet Earth.
No, I don't. We'll have to look at it. Doesn't matter. America Must Be Destroyed. I think it doesn't really matter. But either way, all these Evil Ash looks like something that fucking Dave Rocky and the boys would have came up with in the slate.
You kind of sound like him a little bit too.
Oh yeah, it had to have been. They had to have been friends. They had to have all met at one point or something, because like it made so much sense. It looked
I can see Bruce Campbell being a Guar fan.
If you look up Evil Ash, he looks a lot like Jizmek the Gusher, the drummer, like the dog.
Yeah, the dog face. That's exactly what I thought.
Yep.
That's who he looks like to me. But anyways, I've been dying to say that it's such a Guar movie at that point. It's amazing, a Guar character.
Yeah, dude.
Listen, anybody that's watching this that doesn't know Guar, GWAR, holy shit, you're missing out. Go listen, watch. I mean, whenever shows come back, if we're able to do those kind of shows again, which I'm sure they will. Everything's starting to open up again, but the fucking Guar shows are my favorite thing in the world to go see. You'll never see better camaraderie in a metal show than at a Guar show. Everybody is there for the same reason, to get fucking blood soaked and like watch aliens kill fucking people. Like, I've seen them kill everybody. I've seen them kill everybody from fucking Mike Tyson to Marilyn Manson to fucking Paris Hilton to the Pope to like, and it's great.
It's good stuff.
To kill fake dummies. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyways, all right, enough of that. So, this leads into the whole end battle scene, which is the whole scene is worth the price of admission. It's fucking insane. Between the training montage where he's training them how to do like kung fu with staffs and shit, to the actual fight scene when the Deadites show up and come in. And they're like shooting the fucking. I love the scene when they're about to shoot the exploding arrows, and he's like telling them to hold, because they're like, I mean, come on, man, like these wicks are fucking extra long and taking forever to burn. That was great. I'll let you guys kind of talk a little bit more about it too, because the whole thing.
We also get
we forgot his girl gets stolen.
Stop! I was just about to say that. Sheila.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, they stole Sheila.
Yeah. Sheila.
And then Sheila turns into the fucking. The lady, the sister, the Guar lady, what's her name? I forget. Whatever. Yeah, that's actually another thing. I thought she looked just like fucking Slimenstra or whatever the fuck her name is. And then her face gets all like rubbery and shit. Like, she does such a good job. She's like, man, it feels so good to be bad, or whatever she says. But I thought that was cute. That they never really they didn't give her enough spotlight when she was a Deadite, and I think that was a shame, because I think she was really cool.
I think they could have made her. I think they could have made her a little more witch-like. They didn't really. I think they kind of went soft on it to keep her like still kind of pretty and feminine looking. So there was still an attract, like to kind of make you. To almost like play on whatever heartstrings there would be in this movie, because she's still supposed to be like the romantic, half of whatever Ash is doing. And I think the whole point is to try to like Joe was saying earlier, that he's like this toxic dickhead dude that's like all about just himself and trying to get home. I think they're trying to set up like, oh, maybe there's that chance that he's gonna fall in love with the wench or whatever, and like,
no,
we're not gonna give that up yet. But yeah, so I mean, I think they're still trying to even play with that. But what the hell does he say to her? Like, she's going to attack him, and he's like, "Oh, you weren't that pretty before," or something like that. I can't remember. He says something like that to her. I can't remember what.
Oh fuck! I don't remember what it is. No,
it was something like that. I can't remember what it was.
He said, "I love that he hits her with it's just pillow talk." Oh, come on, baby! It was just pillow talk. I thought you loved me. Nah, baby, it's just pillow talk. Yeah. Yeah. That
classic.
They did such a they made the skeletons like so fucking stupid and goofy, like they were dumb. It makes sense. There's nothing really up in there, and I loved every second of it. You could tell like the people working on the movie probably had such a goddamn fun time working with the puppets, like shaking them fucking crazy, like as they're scared and like they're literally shaken to the bone and stuff like that. And like they did like the long like Evil Dead shot where it's following like the arrows and it's following the cannon. Dude, they kept doing that, and they changed it to fit the scene. They kept changing that one Evil Dead shot to fit. Which, by the way, I think that's actually them filming backwards. I think, and that's how they made that's how, and then they play it forward for us. I think that's how they do it. I don't remember. Same thing. I'll always. James Rolfe, if you're watching this, which obviously he's not, but I love you, baby.
I'll send it to him. You never know.
Yeah, I'll send it to him right now. No, James Rolfe, please fucking hit me up in the DMs and tell me how they did it. But yeah, no, they kept calling back to that one shot, and I really liked that. And then the entire skeleton army, such a fun thing. They did a really good job with like the Jason and the Argonauts comparison, and like the stop motion during some points. It was awesome. The score behind it too is really good.
Yeah.
To really set up the like this is serious. We have a lot of goofy stuff now, which poking Ash's eyeballs out, but 5 minutes later they changed the tone very quick, and they did a good job with that too.
What about the final? Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was gonna go with you on that. Because one, I wanted to say this after rewatching it this morning to get my notes on. Game of Thrones, eat your heart out. I love the White Walker battle, but I don't know, man. I'll go with Army of Darkness any day on that.
Well, yeah, there's not enough Bruce. There's not enough Bruce Campbell in it.
Agree with you. I think I might agree with you on that.
So
the whole Deadite skeleton fucking army scene was It's the price of admission, dude. It's worth the price of admission all day long.
And that goes with like they still kept the goofiness in there, but there was that tone again. We're back to the medieval tone. The stakes are high, and I don't know if that's a pun intended. And it's they're really well done battle scenes. For a indie horror movie that gets a budget and it still stays within that ridiculous indie horror movie, that you got fight scenes again. You had kung fu demons, and now you got sword fighting skeletons, and I mean even with Ash versus Evil Ash, what was that a double sword fight? I was like, oh, okay, this is cool.
Yeah,
all
and
right.
that's another thing. Which before I jump too far ahead, you got to mention the car. You have to mention that they touched up the car. When did they have time to do that? I love that they kept that the secret, and then Ash is like, "Oh, I'll be right back," and he goes down, and he fucking comes out in the wind turbine car, and like I loved the shot that the second they reveal it, all the skeletons turn around, and like they open their mouth to show that they're surprised. I thought that shit was so awesome, and like you could tell it like in production the car is moving so fucking slow, but they were speeding it up to make it look like he's driving really fast. Yeah. And whenever he would run over the skeletons, man, that shit was so entertaining to me.
And it's like he's hitting with the blades and
yes,
shit.
Yeah. And he's
hey, it's cool. What I noticed too, because you got evil Ash, so you got this ultra evil version with the same satire and personality as good Ash. And then I noticed all the skeletons kind of had the same thing. They had the same type of personality, that this like goofy wit to them, and like like they'll say these crazy ass one lines when they're getting killed or they're fighting, and they even kind of talk like the flute with the bones is ridiculous. I mean, that was so.
Oh, and they have beards, and they have the bagpipes, and they have fucking like legit red beards.
That's where just like, wait, this doesn't make sense, but what the hell? I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it almost like it took on like his personality, kind of the whole army. Is like he's just fighting himself, which that's there you go. I just went deep there. Like, he's fighting himself. Ooh.
That's a good call.
That's the best point.
Well, my thing too is, and I've seen a lot of people hate on this movie for pretty much for this last like 20 minutes alone. You guys, not like you guys, whoever hates this movie, dude, you gotta suspend your disbelief to shit like this. It's goofy. It's a goofy fucking ride. It's not meant to be taken seriously. They had fun, and it's a fun movie. It's not meant to be anything fucking scary or spooky. No, it's fun. That's the best way. That's what always drew me in.
It doesn't fucking need to be. Not everything needs to be terrifying and jump scares and fucking gore and horror and like sometimes you just need just like popcorn movies, like popcorn action movies. Look, man, you might not like all the Marvel stuff. I'm going to use that as a reference point because that's kind of like hit or miss with some people. But like, shut your fucking brain off for 5 minutes and just slam popcorn in your mouth and go, "Oh, big explosions."
Oh, that's
big
how I felt
aliens,
about Godzilla and King Kong. It was escapism for me. That was perfect. I didn't expect it.
Real quick plug on my other show that I'm a part of, Three Dudes and Cobras podcast. You can catch us out on Spotify and a couple other things, which we're going to do plugs in a little while. But I had to defend that movie on that show last week.
Oh, great!
Because
can't wait to hear that.
The other two fellas, I asked them about it. I was like, "Oh, what do you guys think?" And I'm not going to give any spoilers away. But after a couple glasses of whiskey or a bottle or two, the other fellas, we all kind of went at it. And I'm like, you just gotta fucking turn your brain off.
Turn your brain
like,
off.
Yeah, I don't like CGI either, but like, if you're gonna watch two big stupid monsters fight, like, just watch two big stupid monsters fight, and that's the whole point. That's where CGI is beautiful because.
Sorry, look.
Yeah,
that's another tattoo for you.
Spoiler alert.
That's not a spoiler alert. That's not. I'm just saying how much I really like Mechagodzilla.
Your Twitch muscles, man, just keep growing over there.
I like how he did the classic. I like how he did the classic, like he had to like push it up with his finger.
Oh, of course I did. What the hell? Look at that. You see that?
He doesn't actually have this. So he has the classic.
Yeah, it goes down like this, like a fucking turkey gobble. Yeah, no. Speaking of which, this will be my only chance to really get to talk about this. In the comic books, this is true, and I have it. I gotta dig it up. There is an Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies, and yes. Yep. Bruce Campbell actually helped with it too, and they made it canon. So Ash Williams is technically in Marvel Comics, which means Sam Raimi, he's making the new Doctor Strange movie that's about multiverses. Make Army of Darkness happen.
Oh my god!
Make it canon.
Cool. I didn't even know we connected that.
Make it canon to the MCU, boys.
That'd be cool.
Anyway,
that'd be interesting to see what they do. You know, Ash will pop up somewhere.
Well, Bruce is in every Sam Raimi movie. He'll always do it. So he already said. I think he already said that. Yeah, he's definitely in some capacity. If we hear that chainsaw revving and we hear somebody say groovy, don't be fucking. I'm the one that said it. Yeah, I'm the one that called it. No, the battle scene was all awesome.
So here's what I'll do. I am going to switch the gears a little bit because the very end of this movie, is we got to talk about something that's not like you got to have bads with the movies too, right? So we've already kind of brought up a couple like not everything held up and blah blah blah. For me, I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit and just say, to be honest with you, if when you say like, oh, what's bad about the movie, right? Obviously, it's a schlocky, fucking overgrown comedy film that kind of like, not overgrown, but
overproduced and over-exaggerated.
Thank you very much. Yeah. That's perfect. Over-exaggerated movie, right, with the scenes and everything else, and you got to turn your brain off and just kind of enjoy it, which is amazing, and I'm a big proponent of that, and we'll stand by that all day long, and I love it, and I'll always put my flag in the ground to defend things like that. But this movie, I almost kind of feel like the end just fell short for me. Like when he ends up, I don't even remember. Like all of a sudden, I must have blinked or something and looked down when I was typing some notes because all of a sudden he's just back at S-Mart, which hey, whatever, and he's telling a story, and then all of a sudden you see Ted Raimi again, and like the chick that's there, whatever, he's like talking to her, and then all of a sudden like the fucking like the witch shows back up, and like it wasn't a bad scene, but it felt like such a departure from what we just saw, even though it's the same thing. It kind of just like, I'm not saying that I wanted him to like stay in the medieval times or whatever. It fits the character, it fits the narrative that he decided that he still wanted to go home or whatever. Like that's awesome, right? Good for him. But like I just feel like it felt like, and it kind of does feel like two different movies, but it felt out of place, and it kind of just like almost like ended. It didn't really. I don't know how to explain it. It kind of left me like, even though it wasn't a bad ending to the movie, and it fits and everything else, and I'm not saying it's terrible. Maybe I'm nitpicking for the sake of trying to find something bad in the movie, because how do you something this ridiculous? What are you going to say bad about it? Like the people that are going to say this movie's bad are the people that don't get like the stickiness of it. You know what I mean? Like the ridiculousness. So like, fuck you and your opinion on that one. But you know, if you're going to talk about like, say, for something that you fall in love with, again, fresh take for me. I've never seen this movie all the way through. It was, first time I've ever watched it all the way through was last night. So, you know, from my take, it was just kind of weird. Like, it wasn't a bad ending, but I just feel like it was almost unnecessary. Like this movie, even if like they did like a, I mean, I don't know what I would have rather have. I don't know.
Yeah.
It left me wanting more or something. I don't know. It just felt like it was rushed. Then all of a sudden the movie just stops. Like, all right, cool. He gets back to S-Mart. Oh, cool. The one cool thing about the final scene was all of a sudden now he's got like an old West barrel. Jesus Christ. Single barrel. You know, the gun. He's like
The hunting
like,
rifle.
spinning around.
The thing that Terminator
Which he
uses
never
in
runs out of
Terminator 2.
bullets.
Dude, he shot that thing.
he
I
never
counted
runs out.
like 30 something times and just totally fine. And that's when.
Wow. That's what he's got to let go.
Well, I know. I'm just saying that, but
Even the double barrel shotgun that he just keeps on shooting, like that was.
I mean, he
driving me
reloaded
crazy,
a couple
but-
times.
Yeah, you see him reload it once, but the amount of shots he's shooting, he would literally have to be reloading it. It was
Constantly.
there's another thing too. I had a really bad Mandela effect with this ending. And there's a lot I could say. This is gonna start. I won't rant too.
Mandela effect. That's gonna be interesting.
So
Ooh.
I thought in my head when the witch goes, "I'll swallow your soul," and I thought it zooms in on his face and he
You
says,
thought she said your mother sucks cocks in hell.
"No, yeah, that was it." And then he was like, "Swallow this," and he fucking. No, I thought he said.
Well, shit. Shit.
Cross with Exorcist.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh, I wish they'd do that. No, I thought he said swallow this. And then I was like, I'm like, nope, he's gonna say it. He's gonna say swallow this, and he goes,
Oh,
come get
Evil Dead
some.
2, right at the end of Evil
Yeah,
Dead 2.
and I thought they did a callback, and I know he says in Evil Dead 2, obviously, but I thought he said it at the end of this also.
I can see that. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting ready for it, and he says, come get some, and I'm like, okay, then he's gonna kill her, and he's gonna say swallow this. Never happens. Instead, I totally forgot the scene where she just jumps off a trampoline and like she's fucking again doing kung fu moves and
even 10 times ridiculous than the entire
oh,
movie
then
itself.
it's 10 times more ridiculous than the fucking Deadite scene in the pit. It's so much more ridiculous than the entire battle because she's jumping fucking haphazardly everywhere, and I loved every second of it. And he's going so slow on this cart, shooting the Terminator gun, bam, 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 and like I loved every second of that last thing. So to what Ed said, this is where I'll say, in case people out there don't know, there was 2 endings of this movie. I
was waiting for you to get into this.
So this is stuff I have to talk about. I have to get it off my chest. I'm selfish. This is actually the reason why I want to pick this movie. It gives me this platform to vent and rant because this is probably my favorite horror franchise ever, and it's just such a fucking travesty what happened. So anyway, in the European cuts of the movie, there's a different ending. We didn't get the S-Mart ending. He drinks the potion. He's supposed to say the words Kleptu Verada Nikto, and again, the whole point is that he didn't say it correctly, and again, he doesn't say it right in the English version either, and hence why the witch comes back. But he actually sleeps too long in the European cut, so he never wakes up back in S-Mart. He wakes up in a post-apocalyptic universe, and he has like a big beard and fucking long hair, and he's like looking all around. He's like, I didn't wake up in time, and like everything's all fucking. The world's ended.
Very Planet of the Apes, by the way. I want to
Yes, which by the way they reference Planet of the Apes too in this movie also. Yeah, when he
didn't catch that part.
Yep, he goes, damn you, and he fucking slams the castle wall. He actually did that as a thing for Planet of the Apes. Anyway, they fucking pull an Army of Darkness European ending at the end of Ash vs. the Evil Dead. God damn it, I'm gonna spoil the show. I'm sorry, it's been out forever. You should have watched it. I'm gonna fucking flip because the show ends. The season 3 ends with him being blown up. He falls asleep like a goddamn idiot. He wakes up too late again.
Wait, Ash is an idiot? No.
Yeah, no. So he gets woken up too late, and the world is ended again. He drives out, and he goes groovy, and he drives out, post-apocalyptic. It literally just looks like Mad Max. He's got this badass leather jacket, and he drives out, and it looks all shitty. He has long hair. He has the beard, just like at the end of Army of Darkness. And then guess what? Stars, bam, cancels the movie, cancels the show. It's fucking done. They were supposed to do a season 4, basically to correct it, and they said fuck it. And then Bruce Campbell, being the bitter guy, which I don't blame him because that sucks. He just said, "Nah, I'm never playing Ash again." In live action, not doing it ever again. And it sucks because now we'll never really get the true ending to Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which sucks because that's another thing that's one of my favorite shows of all time. But they pulled the fucking Army of Darkness again on us with a really stupid ending that didn't make any sense.
You know, I wonder if they were trying to, and of course, maybe Evil Dead 4, not Evil Dead 4, Jeepers Crow, Evil Dead next season would have explained it a little better. Maybe they were trying to, Evil Dead does involve alternate timelines and different times. If they were connecting that ending or trying to connect the ending with how it ended, the alternate ending happened with Army of Darkness, maybe they're providing different,
that's what I was hoping
things.
for.
I mean, even the ending of the first season kind of had that way, because, it's almost like this repetitive thing where he keeps screwing up, and every time he screws up, it alters things, and maybe he altered things at the beginning. That's why we get all this crazy shit keep happening.
And that plays because it's all because he's an idiot, and it actually plays up into Evil Dead the remake. They literally mentioned that. So Evil Dead the remake, it's not technically a remake. It's a sequel. It's a sequel. It's a sequel to Evil World. Yeah, it's an alternate world that the Necronomicon makes because Ash is never in the movie. Except at the very end when he looks at the camera and goes, "Groovy."
Love that.
That's all.
Well, and that goes with what Ed was saying too. Like with the whole scene when Ash is like battling the 3 books, and he's like, it's alternating space and time.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they did it on purpose or didn't, or they did a little bit and they didn't hear you. That's what's great about this franchise. You can really go fun with the fan theories. You can really fill the plot holes yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm with Ed on that when we talk about things that are bad about the movie or even the franchise, you can just let go and still enjoy it. And it's so hard to really complain about it.
Oh yeah. That's me.
There are definitely plot holes, here and there or whatever, but you don't really, a movie like this, you're not expected to hold it to the fucking, to like stellar story, right? You're watching it because you just want to turn your brain off and have fun with something.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of movies like this, and that's the beauty of horror movies really in general.
Yeah. I gotta ask Ben a quick question. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry. So go.
Please do. No, you're good, man. Please.
How do you feel? You feel better, Ben? Getting it out of you?
Until it reaches stars, and until I get to hear, I get to hear from Brucey Boy tell me, hey, this is what we were gonna do with the ending. Then I'll never be happy. That's actually what causes my depression. I wake up every day. I'm like, oh god,
he's gonna die a bitter death.
The movie's that's gonna be engraved on my tombstone.
It's gonna be very bitter.
We never got Ash vs. the Evil Dead season 4. That's gonna say it.
I just let it happen.
No.
Now here's a quick question.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off about the Ash vs. Evil Dead.
No. Nope. That's all good. Now I'm done.
Now we got into some bad. Obviously, we love the movie. Here's a quick question, because there's callbacks to a lot of things, right? Or not callbacks. What is it? Like nods to things in this movie that this movie takes from, right? Like things that Ash will say or do, or spoiler alert for people. If you haven't watched Creepshow, the show on Shudder, the new season's out. I haven't watched anything past the first episode yet because I haven't had time.
Yeah, same.
But the first episode of season.
Oh no, did he break again?
Oh shit! Now he's about to turn into a Deadite. Well, sorry, man. I feel bad. I think he was gonna say, yep, nope, and he's out, guys.
Yep,
I think
you're right. He's a Deadite.
Yeah,
show's done,
and he's gonna come back. That should be a segment that we do with Ed. And it keeps coming back as something different. I think what Ed was going to say, just to fill that dead space. Oh, there we go.
I lost you guys for a second.
Yep.
Oh,
sorry, I had to cut off. Yeah, it actually, I think I got a better connection now anyway. So it's been glitching my whole time on my end. I got to figure something out. But what I was saying is the second story in Creepshow is a callback. It's about the Necronomicon, and Ted Raimi is in it. And
so good.
it's fucking phenomenal, and it made me excited to watch this with you guys because of that. And it's like I got all the callbacks and the draws and everything from that. But it's such a good first episode in general. The first story in that one I like personally a little bit better, but that second one about like the cable show in like the 70s or whatever it is, and like they have the guy that's almost like painting with Bob Ross, and like it's so fucking good, man.
He was like the next version of Ash. It was great.
Amazingly well done throwback to or nod to him.
Yeah. I agree, man.
It was awesome.
And it brought back that shutting your brain off and enjoying the ridiculousness of it.
Yes. And I want everybody. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because if you didn't even know about the Creepshow show, go check it out. It's the first season was great. Also, I get some people don't understand the cheese factor of it, and I think just like this movie, the same people who love these movies, Army of Darkness, Evil Dead, all that stuff, are gonna love the Creepshow show because it's the same like cheesy stories and gimmicks and effects and things. And then this new season so far, I mean, I only watched the first episode, but it's fucking phenomenal. So go check that out. It's so good. But it gives a really big nod to Army of Darkness and Evil Dead. So I want to just kind of throw that out there as like the one thing I can really say about TV shows when it comes to this. But
I think it's a good turn. I think it's a good full circle thing.
Yeah, just little shout out recommendation from the three of us. Go check it out. Shutter, shit, man. I think it's like $4 a month or something. It's worth it.
Yeah, it's really worth it.
It's so worth it. Or if you have Amazon Prime, what I do instead of just having Shutter, I get AMC Plus. So not only do I get all the AMC stuff, like if I ever wanted to go back and watch Walking Dead or any of that stuff.
All right, fancy pants.
It's also,
yeah, Mr. Fancy Pants.
It's like $7 a month. It's an extra $2 a month for like all of AMC. Plus a bunch of movies, plus you get Shutter. So
yeah, this is bullshit. I had to give Universal $4 whole to watch this movie last night.
I had to rent this movie too.
I rented it.
Both pay for it?
I don't know. I just used my Voodoo account and just rented it.
I used Voodoo. I like Voodoo. I used Prime, which you use my Prime, but
yeah, no, I don't rent movies through that. And then the last thing, so like to connect, we are getting an Evil Dead 2. We are getting a remake. Unfortunately, we have confirmation that the old Groovy King himself is not in it. Makes sense though, because I think it mainly ties into the fact that he is still bitter about the fact that the show got canceled. But on the plus side, he never said anything about not voicing characters like Ash, which they're making a game, Evil Dead the game, which actually ties into the continuity of Army of Darkness in the original 2 movies. So that's going to continue the plot of that. And that's cool. My hot take is that he's going to be in Injustice 3, the superhero fighting game. That's my hot take for you boys.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. I think he's going to be a perfect fit. But anyway, so you get to see Ash Williams kick the shit out of Superman.
There you go.
We get to play as him kicking the shit out of Superman.
I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been a Mortal Kombat character yet. I mean, considering they've had.
Oh, that'll start a whole rant from me. Because there's a lot to it.
I thought he was.
He was supposed to be. And then fucking nerds, data mined the game for Mortal Kombat 11. Saw that Ash Williams, Evil Dead, Sam Raimi, all of those 3 names are there listed in the credits. Ed Boon, the director behind Mortal Kombat, said, well, because you guys spoiled that, he's out, and took Ash Williams away from everybody. And then they had to tie in, because Bruce already recorded lines and we've heard them. He had to go back and say, I didn't say anything. I didn't record anything. And then had to say a bunch of stuff to the news press. So in my head, I think Ed Boon, the director, contacted Sam Raimi and said, hey, let me take Ash Williams and put him in Injustice 3. That's all. Nerd rant done.
You get to play as him in Dead by Daylight, so that's really cool.
Yes, which by the way,
awesome.
I do that too. And you get the little puppet hand from Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Have I proved to you guys that I'm a super fan yet, or have I proved it?
Nerd, which is good. Nothing wrong with being a nerd. We're all nerds here, right? That's the whole point. So we're all gonna have our moment with certain movies to be able to like fanboy over. Which let's do some kind of a rating. We're gonna do out of a 10 scale like we did last time. What do you say? 1 out of 10 groovies.
Do you want to do?
I like groovies.
Do you want to do final thoughts beforehand? Before like say final thoughts and then give the rating.
Yeah, like I think that's how we did it last time, right? So,
Yeah.
Joe, go ahead. Final thoughts and whatever.
Um,
How many groovies you give this
I'm
movie?
gonna go with what we are saying earlier. Yeah, sure. There's some things you can nitpick at it, and like what you love about it, you can hate at the same time because of like some of the special effects don't hold up. Even though practical effects are great, there's some areas you could see like you could tell like you can see the magician doing his trick at some point. She's like, all right, that looks a little too cheesy or fake, but again,
Mhm.
you're going for the ride. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to really. It's really hard to the shooting, of course. I mean, the shooting with the gun, the bullets are silly. There's a lot of silly shit that just like plot holes or whatever that we already talked about. So again, turn your brain off, go for the ride. So and because of that, I'm just gonna give it 8 groovies out of 10.
I like that. That's a good score.
Because it was gonna be 7, and then when I was rewatching again this morning, I was chuckling along with it. So I almost rewatched the whole entire thing. I'm like, no, I can't do that. We're gonna be recording it a little
You
bit,
got to record, yeah.
and so it's like so I'm gonna give it 8 because no matter how imperfect it is, its charm is imperfectness, and
Yeah.
I don't want to start complaining about the bad things. It just seems like he's just complaining for complaining's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I enjoy. It's a fun movie. I love all the other ones better because there's more of the horror elements. I think Ash versus Evil Dead is actually takes what we love about Army of Darkness and adds more of the Evil Dead to it. So it's still that hokiness, but there's some really creepy shit in that, and I think the show is 10 times better than the movie, in my opinion. So,
I got to give it a watch.
That's where I stand at Army of Darkness, and I will be rewatching it more often because I've only seen it like twice, maybe 3 times in my entire life. So,
Oh wow. Okay.
yep.
Good. Ben, well, I'll give mine first because you're the fucking. This was.
Yeah, we're gonna let him.
OG
We're gonna let
for
him
this
go
movie.
crazy. Craig.
I really truly did enjoy the movie for what it is. I enjoyed it for the ability to be able to turn your brain off and just watch, and just not have to think about things. And I'm gonna watch it again probably today. I mean, it's a fucking hour long. It's such a fast watch. I need to watch it again without having to take notes to it, so I can really catch. I think I missed a couple little tiny things because the movie moves so fast. Um, Being that I am like the poster child for ADD, like if you look it up, it's pretty much me in the dictionary. I'm like a kitten with a ball of yarn, I just keep on going. Um, I really did enjoy the movie for what it is. It was a lot of fun. Um, I love the ridiculous effects. I'm a huge practical effects person, which if you follow along this show with what we review in general, you're probably going to catch on. That's a big thing for me. I'm always going to point those out. They make movies feel like movies to me, and this felt like a movie, right? Like it should, like the way a movie should feel, in my opinion, from like the '90s. I'm probably going to go with 7.5 groovies out of 10, only because I think I need to rewatch it, and the end is still weird. I don't know what about the end made me feel weird, but it did.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not a bad. It's a great movie. 7.5. All day long. I put the the Bonded by Horror stamp on it. I just something about the end just I don't know. It didn't sit right with me. So it is what it is. But other than that, fucking great time. Watch it. Show it to people because they're gonna go. This is insane. This is madness. Like in a movie. It's nuts. But we're gonna give Ben the ball for a minute, and then we're gonna give our what we're gonna do next week and give some plugs. Go ahead, Ben.
I hate this movie. 0 out of 10, dude. This movie.
Obviously.
No. This movie sucks. 0 out of 10. Don't watch it. No. This is.
No groovies.
Yeah, 0 groovies. This is the worst. No, it's not groovy at all. It's a masterpiece. In my opinion, it's not. All right. So if you had to fucking gun to my head, and if I had to pick between Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, I will pick Army of Darkness every single time. Literally every single time. I know that sounds crazy. I adore this movie in every single way. This is my humor. This is what I adore with movies. This is what I adore when I try to go to see the things I want to see. I adore Bruce Campbell. He has a great jawline. He has great hair. He has got a great body.
Handsome fella.
I think Evil Ash is one of the coolest bad guys in all of movies because it's not only just the representation of Ash polarized, but he also looks like a Guar character, and I really like that too. I vividly remember seeing this movie. I was with my dad. He's a super cool guy. I was at you obviously Ed, you know Andy when at his house, and he had a VHS tape of Army of Darkness. That is the very first time I saw this movie. I remember never fucking leaving the screen. Even I was probably like 6 or 7, yeah. I remember being so captivated by every single thing of it, the skeletons, the fucking evil Ash, everything about it. I loved it. I adore this movie. I adore the one-liners. I can't talk about this movie enough. It genuinely gets me going. It's not my favorite horror movie because that goes to Freddy vs. Jason, boys. That's the best horror movie ever created. Don't at me. And
that's a conversation for a different day.
Oh, you think I'm excited with this movie? Oh boy. Oh, wait until we do that. You guys are in for a treat. And that actually
a few weeks, I'll give you a little breather.
Oh no, and then I'll get to talk about Ash versus Freddy versus Jason.
Will fucking boner die down?
Oh, that's why. There it is.
Yes, I just realized it because it's supposed to be in that too. Anyway, I'm sorry. I give it if I couldn't have made it obvious enough. This will be my first ever fucking 10 out of 10 groovies, boys. I can't think of a bad thing to say about it. Even when I went back. If you rewind it and you're like, wait, didn't you complain about the blue screen effect? Shut up. It adds to the charm, you jerks. You fucking she-bitches.
I agree. I think it's part of the appeal.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying for you. I'm saying if people go back and it's like, well, actually, he complained. And then I'd go in the comments and call you a she-bitch because that's what you are. No, it's fucking tremendous. This is what goofy horror comedy should be. And there's not a ton out there. There's like mainstream ones. There's like Tucker versus Evil. There's Bride and Seed of Chucky. In my opinion, they're both comedies.
I mean, Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh my, that's another one for another day. There's a lot. But I think Army of Darkness really started that trend for me. And there needs there needs to be more like it. Sam Raimi is a goddamn god of filmmaking, and I would do dirty things to him. And everyone should also watch Darkman.
Another classic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Shout out fucking give me the pink elephant. But that's it. 10 out of 10 groovies, boys. I fucking adore it.
Is that it? Oh, okay.
I'm glad we this movie.
Everyone. So we got
all right, cool. So
there we go.
So here we go. So that's our take on Army of Darkness. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that. This is again a fun thing for us to talk about these movies. When we decided to start doing the show, we don't really have anything set in stone as far as like what we're going to review and when. We're still learning all that stuff, and we're still even learning on how we're going to talk about them. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this. Hopefully everybody enjoys the last one. Go back and check that out. We're going to start getting them up in places, which we're going to talk about in a little while. I think we're going to get them on audio version in a couple streaming platforms, and I think we'll figure out a way to get it to be able to rewatch it on like YouTube or something. We'll talk about that soon too. We should be able to have both options. It makes sense nowadays. The next episode is going to be next week. If I think we're going to do it on Friday night. If you guys are both down for that,
I think Friday is going to be. Yeah, I think Friday will work.
Yep.
We're peeling back the curtain, but as long as everybody's cool with that, I mean, I'm free after 8:30 p.m., which I think will be better anyways, because we talked about doing these at nighttime when people can have a couple cocktails with us or a beer or two, whatever, and watch along with us. And I agree. What we're going to do next week for the third episode, it's going to be nighttime, a live stream on Friday evening. We're going to put up the time in advance. Probably, I'm thinking we're going to shoot for like 9 o'clock to start the show, only because that gives us a little bit of time when I get out of work and stuff. So we'll talk about that. 8:45, 9 o'clock, somewhere around there to start. So put that on your calendar next Friday, which is, I don't even know what the date is. What's that, the 20-something? Anybody have a calendar on them real quick?
It's the 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah, it's the 23rd. And then
the 23rd.
What are we doing? Do you want to have Joe say, because he's the one that got to pick?
Joe's the one who gave us this idea. So Joe, you announce what we're going to be doing next Friday. I think it's going to be a big one.
I'll go more into it next week, but like we're doing a little, we're having a little fun with one of my favorite topics when I wrote for a couple magazines, original versus remake.
Yes.
And the movie, the movie we're gonna pick is Amityville Horror, the original 1978, 1979 original. I don't remember the
Yep.
year, and the 2005 remake.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, with Ryan Reynolds.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah. So that's gonna be fun because I have
Yes.
a love-hate relationship with the first movie. And we have some fandom with the remake too, but we'll get into that. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be a nice mashup. We're gonna kind of tear apart both movies and kind of go like we got to pull out some stuff that we like and some stuff that.
Yep.
It's
You
easy
want
to
to see
talk
me go
about
on the
stuff that you
rant?
don't
I'll
like
go
on
on my
stuff, too.
rant.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm anticipating.
I'm so
this
reserved
because
on these fucking things.
You're not gonna be on Friday.
Yeah, for me it's easy to do rants like this, so I'm excited to see what you got to say about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I think it's gonna be a fun one. I think people are really gonna enjoy it. And again, it's at a time when it's gonna be a little bit more accessible for people to be able to tune in.
Yeah, late
time-wise.
night, everybody drinks and
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's cool is we're gonna try out different things. This is a brand new thing still for us and for all you guys watching. So join us next week. And if you're watching this in the future, go back and check out the third episode whenever that one's available live. So go check that out. So again, we're gonna be doing a breakdown of remake versus original. So until then, stay bloody, you fools. I'm Eddie Vegas.
Oh, we gotta fit the plugs.
Yeah, where can we find you guys before we end?
Yeah, I figured I'm not that much of a pro.
No,
yet.
it's
All
okay.
right, so,
it's okay. Where can we find you?
Eddie Vegas on Instagram. I'm Eddie_Vegas there, and Twitter I haven't really used, so don't worry about that. But Instagram also, I run the Bonded by Horror Instagram page for us. So go follow that, please. That'd be great if everybody could give that a like and see what we're doing. We're gonna post everything up there. I also am I'm available to be listened to if you like listening to my big, sexy, buttery voice. On the Three Dudes and Cold Brews podcast, which I'm also a host of. That's a ridiculous show. We've talked about that before. We're out of timeout. We got past our 2 week.
You're out of the nice boy clock.
We're out of the nice boy. We are part of the nice boy clock for a couple weeks because we got in trouble a little bit. So is what it is. But go check it out. We're gonna be probably doing more regular shows where they're just us sitting around drinking, talking about movies and bullshit like this too. So it's vastly different than this, but it's also a good time. And both these fellas have been on episodes before, so go check that out. And you can find me wrestling too. I Eddie Vegas, Rhode Island. Just look up Rhode Island on YouTube and you'll find me all over the place. But yeah, outside of that, go ahead, you guys.
All right, so you find me on as my writer name, JC Walsh. You'll find me on JC Walsh81. That's Instagram, Twitter, JC Horror Writer, Facebook, JC Walsh Author. I'm also on WordPress, which is jcwriter.wordpress.com. I don't have much going on right there. I at the moment, I'm trying to get better at putting more content. Same thing, going to get a newsletter working soon. Also on Amazon, just type in JC Walsh. You'll see my two titles, Death Highway and Within the Abyss. I got some cool shit coming up. Also in May, I'm going to announce soon. Probably next week, yeah. And I also have a little, because I'm a maniac, I talk a little bit horror with author Amon Rosamilia on his YouTube page. So go check that out. And I think that's it. I think that's all I got to say right now. So yeah, thanks for tuning in.
All right, and for me, boys, if you're watching live right now, then I don't really have to say it, but you can find me on Twitch, ScroogeChamp, twitch.tv/ScroogeChamp. Instagram, same handle. Twitter, same handle. Same thing. I don't really use Twitter at all. I'm going to be doing, not very weekly, but I'm going to be on a good old comic book podcast very soon. We're going to be talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe shows. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be a treat. More to come on that soon. But besides that, no, man, we're all busy boys, and I like that. We're all very
active, man.
Hell yeah, man. Keep our brains going.
Busy.
We got
no such thing as too much content.
Us three have big beefy brains, and we gotta flex them all in some way.
Well, mine's fleeting. I can assure you that. So, but we're working on it. So, yeah. Last minor little plug. Me and young Benjamin over here. 2 days ago, if you guys are talking about movies, we just went up to if you've ever seen Clerks 2 or a fan of anything from the View Askew universe from Kevin Smith and Jay Muse and all those guys, we went to a pop-up movies, the burger place up in Boston. It was great, but it definitely left us with some interesting feelings.
Oh my god, I I still feel like
We'll
garbage.
talk about that another time. But it was worth it.
It was very worth it.
You can check up. We have pictures on both of our Instagrams and stuff. So if you find us in there, go check those out. And if you have any questions about it, we have videos and stuff that we can put up later too. But anyways, this has been fun. I still haven't come up with a perfect tagline yet. So for now, it's just stay bloody, my friends.
I like stay bloody.
Yeah, stay bloody, man.
Stay bloody.
Stay bloody.
Stay bloody.
I like it.
All right, boys.
All right, you fucks.
Peace out, everybody.